Reddit, what's the worst thing you ever found out from a game of truth or dare? Worst thing I revealed is that I once masturbated to the SX scene in Team America, World Police, and now you all know. I found out one of my cousins used to watch and pet me in my sleep dreaming for some kind of eventual romantic relationship. On top of all this, there were a number of creepy little things she liked to do as I slumbered blissfully away. The worst part is after someone jokingly mentioned the idea of cousins having a relationship in Japan being a socially acceptable thing, she legitimately asked, "Will you move to Japan with me?" Le cousins dangerooks. A friend of mine was playing with some friends. I was there but not participating, and we found out her boyfriend at the time had been in a threesome. The people involved, him, his dad and his mom's best friend. Father-son bondage time. It was during a drunken game of Kings, and my girlfriend at the time revealed that she masturbated to the thought of my best friend fricking her frequently. I overheard it while learning her favorite song on guitar in my bedroom. I was pretty wasted, so it was taking a while to figure out the chords, but once I heard that crap I locked my door and drank myself to sleep. Girl takes the truth portion motherfucking seriously. Well, I found out from a game of truth or dare a girl I truly had no romantic interest in was super into me. The air of expectation after that came out for me to do something or make a move was very disturbing for me. In the end, I didn't do anything. Her friends asked what was up, and I told them the truth and I broke her heart. I felt bad, but crap. That my obese roommate had a Prince Albert piercing. Yep, he showed us, and he had to pull back a few rolls for us to see it. Haven't actually learned anything bad from truth or dare, so I'll share best. Hottest girl we were playing with got dared to kiss the hottest guy playing, and she kissed me. Major confidence boost for a high school kid with self-image problems. Heck yeah. On a summer abroad trip in college we played a game of Kings one night. The weird girl drew whatever card indicated truth, and it was my turn to ask, at what age did you lose your virginity? 6. The game was over. If this thread is any indication of the crap people will disclose in a game of truth or dare, law enforcement could easily replace all of their interrogation techniques with it. When the girl I had been dating for over a month, when asked the last time she had sex, responded, "A week and a half. Her and I hadn't slept together yet." Exact same thing happened to me, but we were dating for 2 months. She had sex the previous night I went over dart. I felt dirty being in her room. You guys should learn paranoia, a drinking game. You sit in a circle and it starts with someone whispering a question to the person to their left. Alright, whatever. The question should basically require the answerer to pick someone in the room as the answer, such as who in the room is most likely to become a success, who in the room would make the worst parent, or who in the room would you sleep with if you had to, etc. They give their answer to the group. Whoever got named as the answer has to drink to hear what the question was. If they don't, everyone else can drink to find out the question. Basically it always ends up with someone outraged, upset that someone would give their name as the answer to something negative. It's fun. Or, dude, during a game of Never Have I Ever I found out my boyfriend, at the time, had let a dog lick his genitals on more than one occasion. Until now, I had suppressed that memory. Never have I ever let a dog lick my genitals. Boyfriend, crap. I've run total.com, truth or dare online, for about 10 years now, so I've been indirectly horrified by thousands of terrible things from all of you. Seriously, though, there are lots of really dark things that people like to admit: betrayal, abuse, regret, crimes, and worse. I've posted this before, but I think many of us are just looking for an outlet for our secrets, and truth or dare provides a socially acceptable conduit, and people are pretty freaky given the chance. You should totally do an AMA sometime. Late to the game, but the guy I was interested in admitted he forced his little brother to suck his dong, 13 and 8 respectively, and that he enjoyed it. I changed my mind about him very quickly. That's a heck of a thing to admit in a game of truth or dare. My best friend was gay. It was a surprise at first, but in the end, we actually became closer friends. Edit. I'm not gay. I accepted that he was and we became better friends. Not in a homosexual way. Also, it wasn't the worst thing but the most significant. I didn't really think about that part. That my shy and studious best friend of the time had been involved in performance sex sessions during which she was triple penetrated whilst dressed as a French maid. Yep. That I was the only person in the room who had any actual loyalty to their girlfriend and hadn't slept around while with her. I got this one. I was about 19 and had never really played it before. Oh, and I was kind of socially awkward. Anyway, big group of people at a friend's apartment decided to play. I can't remember who said what, but it probably went on for only 10 minutes before it comes to my turn. By this point it's kind of clear that our group is not the kind of group that plays truth or dare very well, very creatively or with any enthusiasm. In fact, I think we were only playing it because we saw the characters on Friends playing it. But I digress. So anyway, it's my turn and having completely no idea what to ask anyone to do or say, I ask a pretty girl in the group, who happened to be French Canadian, what's the most salacious sexual story you have? Did I mention I'm a nerd? Anyway, the girl slightly misunderstands salacious and gets upset. Do you really want to know? Do you really want to know that my uncle used to molest me? There. Are you happy now? Are you happy? After the very awkward silence that followed, it was decided that we shouldn't play truth or dare anymore. Jeez. Worst possible result for a fellow nerd trying to liven things up. Sorry man. Okay, so I started dating this girl in the summer. When fall came around, she had to go back to college in the next state over. I drove up to her every weekend to see her for the weekend. 3+ hour drive each way, but one weekend night, we are getting drunk. Her roommates and some other friends she wanted to introduce me to, all girls. They decide they want to play truth or dare. I'm thinking this is a situation that is going to lead to me being the mayor of Awesome City. Unfortunately, that would not happen. The game goes around and around for a while and everything is starting to heat up. They go from asking each other to do things that are funny, to a little over the top, and then down to things that are sexual. Right in the warm-up phase of the latter topic, someone asks my then GF, what's your number, how many guys, and she instinctually replies without hesitation 26. My mouth goes from a smile from having a great time and liking where the game is going, to completely slack-jawed. She had told me I was number 3. I didn't even need to do anything other than genuinely react, because every girl in the room looked at my face after she laughed and answered the question and saw and knew they had been a lie exposed. A girl lie. A lie that almost never sees the light of day, but it was there for all to have a Schordengasm over. Upvote for Schordengasm. I almost got to have a threesome whilst playing truth or dare, but passed out. It was New Year's 2001. Had 2 girls making out with me and each other on my bed in a hotel room during a game of Todd. Next thing I know, I am waking up. I was so crushed that I passed out. They both confirmed it would have happened. Still haven't gotten another chance since then. I guess I found out that sometimes getting super drunk should not be top priority. I found that out, but still haven't learned. Yeah, it might have happened too, if I didn't knock that glass of wine on my expensive rug. One of my best friends frequently masturbated to my girlfriend whilst me and her were together. He was my bro, so I took it lightly. Edit. Okay, you guys have made me realize this isn't such a bad thing. I'm more proud than anything now. He was my bro, so I took it lightly. This is my favorite comment today. For some reason it really made me chuckle. My time to shine. I found out the girl I just started dating had been in a foursome with some 40-year-olds, and she was 20 years old at the time. I thought that it was pretty intense, and this girl is far more experienced than I had previously been led to believe. It wasn't a deal breaker, but it was shocking because I assumed she was rather innocent. The innocent ones are always the worst. Not quite truth or dare, but I remember a game of Never Have I Ever premise. Someone says never have I ever. This, anyone who has done this takes a drink. We played slightly differently, where the caller could say something that they haven't done before. Anyway, a friend and I were playing with a group of other people once. A few months later, her and I were hanging out together, just the 2 of us, and we continued the game by ourselves. She was being extra flirtatious and she looked good. She started asking some of the dirtier stuff, particular sex moves. So, I did what had to be done. Never have I ever had sex in a restaurant bathroom. Neither of us took a drink. I smiled. and said on that note, "I'll be right back," and headed down to the washroom. Well, wouldn't you know it, as I'm about to head in, she runs down, grabs me by the shirt and pulls me in the ladies' room. A good time was had by all, well, except the poor old lady who was in the stall next to us, but that's a different story. Someone else told me why my parents really got divorced. I was asked when I picked truth, and I told everyone the reason I was given, and some little B said, "That's not the real reason," and proceeded to embarrass me in front of 10 other bitchy girls. Fun night. Not truth or dare, but I never. It was during a game of King's Cup, so we would have everyone hold up 5 fingers and put one down for each thing they had done. The first person to put all 5 fingers down has to drink. It was pretty far in the game, so people were getting bored and wanted to end it and used things to get people out easier. A girl said something along the lines of, "I've never had sex with a girl," and all the boys put down a finger. Then one of the guys said, "I've never sucked a dong," and all the girls put a finger down. At that moment, I saw my then boyfriend sneak his hand under the table and put a finger down. Needless to say, we had a little talk about his sexuality that night. The drunken admission that I'd fooled around with a guy when I was 16 led to my ostracism from my new rugby team, and general humiliation for my first year of university. Bunch of C. Late night in pool after bar hopping at mom's place. Mother, her BF and their friends decide to play truth or dare. I overheard way too much about my mother's sexual experiences than I ever wanted. There's already so many comments, but I have to share mine. I was in 5th grade and half my classmates were playing truth or dare during recess near the jungle gym. I wasn't even playing truth or dare, but my 2 best friends were. I sat down on one of the platforms of the jungle gym to relax in the sun, and I overheard a lot of the truths being asked and giggled along. Apparently, they thought I was out of earshot when my best friends dared a boy to go ask me out. He said no. "She's ugly," my friend replied. "I know, but you have to." Haha. So the guy walks over to me, head down, big frown, and asks me if I want to go out with him. We're both 10 years old. How is dating even a thing? I look at him and ponder for a moment because I was pretty devastated, and I guess I wanted to see him get more uncomfortable and said number. He ran back happily and they all made fun of him for being turned down by the ugliest girl in school. I finished elementary school with no friends because I realized they thought I was disgusting. And that's the worst thing I found out from a game of truth or dare. 18 years later and it still stings. Fortunately, that friend of mine who asked the dare turned into a gigantic fat ass. The kind you see in Walmart wearing a strapless dress that barely covers their vagina. So, everything worked out. That I am the most boring person to play this game with ever. Not because I won't do dares, but I have lived a sparkling, clean, uncomplicated life. That licking syrup out of my crush's belly button makes her cry, and her boyfriend console her with his penis in the next room. That the worst sexual experience of the girl I was seeing at the time ever had was puking while sucking my friend's dong. Then they started laughing and were all like, "Actually, it was pretty good still." She grinned at me while saying that. I was real into that girl, still am, and it put quite the damper on my night. Not my story, but my friend was playing truth or dare with a group of friends right after college graduation. In the group was this very obnoxious girl. Apparently the question came up if you could sleep with anyone who wasn't your boyfriend, who is also in the room and playing the game. Who would it be? And she became thoughtful before answering. Evan. Evan, who is this kid she barely knew, had died a year before. He was in their grade, and some of his close friends, including my friend, were in the room also playing. Apparently it got awkwardly silent, since she had basically just used the name of a dead student friend for attention. Pretty disrespectful. There were some other things that made this girl obnoxious. Like I think she said something along the lines of "I always lose at this when playing, never have I ever," implying that she was sexually adventurous, and yet claimed to never master bait. I learned that the people I was playing with thought I was gross. I know this because I was involved in just about all the dares. I dare you to kiss Hellspark08 on the cheek. Oh man. Banned bus memories. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.